Not that anybody's necessarily watching it yet, but. And then I need to share it out.
That might help.
So, Matthew is going to possibly be a few minutes late.
Yeah, I saw.
Well, I guess letting you know and letting everybody know.
Oh, they don't. You think they pay attention? There's nobody there yet.
Yeah.
One person in the chat, that's just me.
Hey, just in case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not change that. So, crap.
You forgot to change something.
Yeah, I forgot to change restream, so it's just doing a whatever stream, so I gotta find my... Okay, let's see. We're gonna bring up another YouTube thing here. I gotta change everything on it. Well, I think there's Matthew. Oh no, alert. Hey, John.
Hey.
What's going on?
Not a lot. Just waiting for Matthew to come in.
Waiting for who?
Matthew Rhys.
Oh, that artist spotlight, huh?
Yeah.
Well, he's a writer, but yeah, just his whole comic group.
What's his whole comic group called? Give me all the information you can give me right now. Rapid fire it at me so I don't look like an idiot.
He's been making webcomics since 2006 under a brand called Ideal Comics. They have a
website.
A big plot. Yeah, they have a website, but he had a big plot called, what was it? Something at the Ren Fair. But they usually do Forces of Evil, which is about like a hero and villain school going up to try to be heroes and villains, and it's mostly like a comedy sitcom-y.
So if it has like Renaissance Fair, Forces of Evil, Guild, is it like a guild type D&D stuff or?
No, it's superheroes.
Superheroes, okay.
Yeah. And he has his whole website. I mean, he'll explain this later too, but he has his whole world set up in the ages. Like a golden age to their world, and then a silver age, and so on and so forth. And they have like different sets of heroes for each one. He's a cool guy. I go on a show on like Tuesdays and stuff.
And how did we hear about him?
Oh, I was on his show to promote my comic, and he's actually one of my subscribers. Been one for a while, so I've known about him for a while. But I guess what, last Tuesday, I was seeing Metal on there and all that. Rhys, he was live talking about his comic site, so I decided, hey, and we had nobody lined up, so asked him whether he wanted to come on.
I met him the way I meet all cool people. Fan.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I pretty much have a grasp on this guy. I don't need any more information whatsoever.
And his website is idealcomics.net.
It's very important, seeing as how I probably won't even be here for it because I'm supposed to go on Comic Book Bob's when he goes live.
Oh yeah. You talking about?
He just said, like, oh, it might be an opportunity to talk about the Buckler, so I have to go over there and do that if I have the opportunity.
Yeah, you definitely got to do that.
Yeah.
And well, like I told you, you're welcome to come on either day you feel like it.
I will. You're going to see me every Wednesday and every Saturday.
Okay.
For the next 2 months.
And you're launching this...
Hey man, you got to do what you got to do.
This Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody can see his website up on my thing at the moment. That's what everybody's seeing. Maybe right now.
Was it Panic? Yeah, it was Panic at the Ren Fair. That was the name of that arc. Mm-hmm. I knew it would hit me.
Hey, Rebel. Larry.
Gaming is here. He's muted.
I roll a natural 20. I got a critical hit.
4.
Oh, you kill the troll.
Fucking right, man. I burn its body. That
You
thing
just came right in here winning.
That thing ain't getting up. It does not regenerate. Not here, sir.
Trolls don't usually regenerate.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, absolutely they do, man. Don't you know D&D? I know
Metal doesn't know
D&D.
D&D from his own back of his hand.
Look, I've been playing D&D since first edition, brothers. I know what THAC0 is. I can help out. Is that what you guys are doing? I just clicked the link. I just saw.
Yeah, we're playing D&D right now.
No, we're
I
waiting.
heard something about it in a DM group about gaming or something.
No, trolls don't usually regenerate because you always have a wizard throwing fireballs at it.
I'm thinking about playing some more Weeble gaming soon.
Yeah.
We're going to have somebody come in right now. His name's Matt. And he's going to talk about his comic book company. He's a writer. It's called Ideal Comics. Now, I've been following this guy since 2006. I know everything about him if you got any questions.
All right, well, I mean, I'll hang around for a bit if that's all right.
Yeah, no problem.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, okay, we're live.
Yeah,
All right.
we're super live right now.
LIVE live, ladies and gentlemen.
And hello, Timothy. Not much right now. We're just waiting for Matthew Rhys to come on by.
Oh, it's Matthew Rhys. Okay.
Yeah.
I know Matt.
So
I like to call him Reese's Pieces. Yeah, bring him on.
yeah, well, he's already got the link. He's just running a bit late. He had some sort of phone thing or whatever that he had to do. He said it was only going to last about half an hour. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Has anyone called me the math guy yet, Rick?
No.
No? Okay.
Are you a math guy?
Well, apparently that's what his chat likes to call me. We have Timothy Olson in the chat. He says, don't ask Dillard anything. He knows nothing. Is that true, John? Do you know nothing?
No, my name's John Dillard, not Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow. That's right. And I like how the metal is always dabbing.
That's what you got to do, man.
He's dabbing, and then when he shows up in my chat, he's always coughing into his elbow.
That's how you got to dab.
It's like his signature. It's like his thing, you know.
No, we all do that around here.
So we played a one-shot last night. It was very fun.
Yeah,
I thought it was a huge success.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was over on Metal's channel. Gaming.
You guys got to kill a
Metal.
werewolf.
Yeah, we fought this werewolf. Let me ask you a question. Since you've been playing D&D since first edition,
Mm-hmm.
you ever come across a town where somebody in the town did not even know the meaning of the word proof?
Meaning the word what? Proof?
Yeah.
Like I need some fucking proof that this guy's a werewolf?
Yeah.
Never.
Like I need some proof that this werewolf is dead.
They didn't come to a town where somebody didn't understand proof. He's interpreting something entirely wrong.
That's not true at all.
Who is DMing this masterpiece?
I was.
Okay.
So what they did was they need to bring back proof that they killed this wolf. The town doesn't know what a werewolf is. They're very simple folk. They just saw a big wolf out in the middle of the woods that swallowed a kid whole. They could have brought back a part of its carcass or anything just to prove that they had killed it. Was resurrect, or well, not resurrect, but raise the dead on the wolf, walk it back into the town in the middle of the night with this
zombie wolf.
Yeah, and not expect the town to freak out at them.
Yeah, because that's normal everyday stuff. Necromancy is widely accepted, you know.
Yeah. And then so he's like, why'd you bring that wolf here? And I was like, so that we can prove that we're going to kill it.
Or prove that we killed it.
and he's like, proof? What is proof?
No, the guy never said what is proof. You're going to go back and rewatch it.
I
The
did
mayor
today.
never said that at all.
I did go back and rewatch it to go see you guys fumble and bumble through that fight that I missed.
Yeah, how are you guys doing this? Are you guys like using the Roll20 online system?
No, this was all
Or were you guys like going
really
actual
know-
dice and sort of like doing the honor system? You know.
It was theater of the mind completely,
Okay.
and I was just giving them difficulty checks for a roll, just a 20-sided die that we're using a dice logger for online,
Sure.
based on who was doing what and what the difficulty should be for that task.
So did these guys even have character sheets then and stuff?
No, it was just an impromptu thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
That's
had
pretty much all.
the most gorgeous, beautiful plan laid out,
The marsupial ruins it.
and then Marsupial goes and just ruins everything. I don't know. It kind of made me like when I had to leave. I was like, you know what? I don't even feel that bad that I got to leave because he just messed up everything.
Now, John, have you gotten into this Weeb game that everyone's playing?
Nah, I don't have a controller. This is the thing. I like video games. I like RPGs and all that stuff, but I have a laptop. I don't even have a mouse. You know, I would have to go and get like a controller, I think, to play this game, right?
No, I'm playing it with a
No.
keyboard and mouse.
Unless I'm like
But yes, you get a mouse. It doesn't have.
hot keying and like using letters and stuff, which is super whack. You know, I don't.
Well, if
I
you're
don't know
playing
how
it
to
on
do that.
PC, yes, you're gonna need
I
a
hunt and
keyboard
peck
and
when
mouse.
I
If you're
hunt
playing it
and peck
on
when I-
mobile, then you just need your mobile. If you're playing it on console, then yes, you'll need a controller.
I don't know. The thing is, I can't play a game without a controller. I tried playing a game where you just kind of like touch on the screen to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very frustrating, and then my fingertips get hot and I get all upset.
Yeah.
The great thing about PCs now then is most controllers are just simply plug and play. Like back in the day when you bought a controller for your PC, you had to go through the fucking rigmarole of like configuring that shit. You know, but now literally you can buy like a $20 controller, plug it in with the UBS, and in most cases, 9 times out of 10, it's already good to go, you know?
Especially if it's an Xbox controller and you're running Windows.
Yeah, my PlayStation controller works just fine. My Xbox controller works just fine. I played like DOA 6 on the PC, and I thought, oh god, here we go. Now I'm gonna have to configure every fucking button and calibrate it right. And no, God no, it was like plug and play. Away I go. I was like so happy.
I used to have a fight stick for stuff like that.
Yeah, those are expensive, man. You're paying at least $200 for a decent arcade stick, probably more. You know what I mean? Like,
No, there was this one brand. It was like really basic, and it was good for modding to make your own controller out of. That was like $60.
oh, that's not bad. That'd be like $100 for me.
Yeah. But even that's like, you know, I've seen things here that go 200. So then translating that to Canada, it's like,
Yeah, add 25% more, and that's what I gotta pay. Pretty much, you know. And then, like, if we get dinged for taxes or customs or anything else, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What's
I
crazy,
got to
Rick?
read Tyler Carpenter's
Right.
Chef's comic today. Everyone will be able to get access to that soon. His free appetizer comic, as he calls it. Huge cliffhanger ending.
you ever make a custom computer, Timothy asks? Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I've had a custom computer years ago, like back in 2004 and 5, when I was really, really into it. Like I was taking my A plus and my network plus, and, you know, when I was in, you know, college, quote unquote. But now, like we're 2020, the technology is so different. I probably wouldn't have a clue to build a decent one now. I would have to like go back and do like a lot of research.
Well, I helped my brother with his, but X card without consulting me or thinking about it.
Well, that's just it, right? Like that's the like if I'm going to upgrade my PC, the next thing I got to do is, you know, add a little bit more RAM. Like I got 16 gigabytes of RAM. I'm probably fine, but you can never have more power. And then like upgrade the graphics card.
Well, that's the big problem, right? So he's got enough RAM for what he wants to do, but he's skirting the edge of what his power supply can pull
Right.
with the newer graphics card. And if I knew he was upgrading to what he was upgrading, I would have told him to also buy a stronger power supply.
Was he got like a 50 watt, 60 watt?
I don't know. So what do you want to do, Rick? I don't think this guy's going to show up.
Well, I think it's just going to be late.
Show up because I'm going to harass him right now. Watch this. Matthew Rhys, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he's on my Twitter somewhere.
Like Kyle Rhys.
Like Kyle Rhys.
Well, like I said, we'll just talk till whenever.
Well, what are you going to talk about, Rick?
Whatever.
These guys are talking about like connector pins and stuff. What are we going to talk about?
Rick, what's his Twitter name? I got to find him. What's his Twitter name, Rick?
Matthew D. Rhys.
Right. Is it with an H or two T's? Yeah, no, never mind. I got him.
Kind of like Jesus H.
All right, I'm going to harass him right now. Where, in capital letters,
is your monitor like above your head, Rick?
A little bit.
Are you? We are all waiting in Piper's Pit.
Tell him Dillard's getting upset.
Well, isn't
That's
your
right,
monitor
Don
also
Dillard's
really
is getting
big
upset.
TV as well?
This guy has no idea who I am.
Crush
Right.
Comics says he was the orange guy. Here he is. Hey,
See, I
Matthew.
told you I can make things happen, brother.
You did it, Larry.
I did it, man. I'm a winner.
Hey,
Mr.
Matthew.
Reese, how are you doing today, sir? Welcome to Rebel Comics and Gaming. I'm your host, LP.
Are you taking over other people's shows today?
Yeah, dude, that's what I do now. Like I'm like in a, like a parasite. I just like go to people's shows and take over the hosting duties, brother.
Dude, that's legit, man. I can dig it.
No, I'm kidding, man. How are you doing though, Matt?
Oh man, it's been a while, man. I'm doing good.
Yeah. No, you and I haven't spoken in a little bit, but you're starting to make the rounds. You know, I've seen you appear on Facebook and a few other places lately.
Yeah. I kind of.
So
I got to be honest. I kind of hold myself up in trying to finish some projects before our mini con, so I didn't really do anything, talk to anyone for a couple months.
now, when you say mini-con, are we talking like a physical convention here or like an online thing?
A physical convention here in Scottsdale.
Damn, I haven't heard of tell one of those since days of yesterday, man.
Yeah. Well, it was about 3 weeks ago here in Scottsbluff. We had one. So
Okay, so how did that go down? Was like everyone in mask? Were you like all like 6 feet apart? Like, tell me like how a con looks like in the COVID era.
well, there were a lot of masks, but that was to be expected because there's a bunch of people in costumes, so that wasn't such a big deal. But beyond that, people were, kind of keeping their distance from stuff. But, I was also out here in Western Nebraska where people have a healthy disrespect for authority. And so it was a little normal and a little not.
Now, Rick, can you point the camera back to where you had it? Because I got to see that big stomach again, brother. There we go, man. There we go. It almost fills the box. I'm just kidding, Rick. So, Matthew, I know you probably weren't expecting me to be on here. I just popped in like out of nowhere, brother. But they said they're bringing on Matthew Rhys. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick around for this.
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, Rick, do your thing, brother.
Okay. Did you share the link with anybody on your team to come on? Am I expecting anybody else?
Oh, I did not get a shot, but let me go ahead. I'm going to pop over to Facebook in a different tab and just see what happens here. So no, I didn't.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
Now, Rick, you do
Before we get started, I got a question from
slightly
Matthew D.
higher.
Reese. I got a really important question.
Rick, all we can see is your chin, right? You're like the fucking guy from Home Improvement. We can only see like part of you. There we go.
Matt, what kind of chair are you working with? What do you
The chair, it is a pink metal chair.
Metal?
It's like strawberry shortcake.
Cheers.
See?
No, we can't see that, brother.
Yeah. It's just a metal chair is all it is.
Oh, man.
So
Rick, this guy's hardcore.
you've got a version of metal there, an alternate version of metal.
Yeah.
Well, he usually has a version of me on Tuesdays too.
That's also true. He is often a guest on our little Tuesday stream that we do with the other partners. So
Rick, you can't have that kind of dead air.
Yeah. So, I do have your website already up. And actually, I was going to show you something else that I did today on my stream at noon. I guess I gotta switch back to my camera.
So what is this site, Matt, that he was just showing us? What is that all
Oh,
about?
that's our website. If you go,
Well, tell me about the website, because I've never seen it.
I don't know if we can do that. I mean, look. I mean, Larry, I know that you're not really familiar with Rick, but dead air is a staple on this show.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let me sit
You
in
might actually
silence.
start like freaking people out with the production quality change and everything.
it's actually what people come for. I think
Well, Matthew,
And seriously,
They come for the clickbait, but they stay for the time that they get to just reflect on stuff. During the dead air.
It's like, yeah, Rick's on. We can like do other things,
it's the time to seek out the deep parts of our soul, dude. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. You got Bridget and the Golden Rapid, two of our Golden Age characters. That's pretty slick.
yeah, I wasn't sure what her boots look like or her whatever, so they're not in yet. So maybe you have a
Yeah.
picture of which.
They're like laced sandals, kind of a thing. So, yeah. Or actually, sometimes she's shown just barefoot with the garters.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Cross
Yeah,
Comics
sure.
says Nebraska is the same as Canada. Do you feel that's true, Matt?
I don't think that it is the same as Canada, but there are definitely similarities between them. People doubt we exist and tend to disregard us. So there's that. And of course, the Canadian flag is red and white, and Nebraska's state colors for our football team are not red and white, but everyone thinks they are.
What are they? Colorblind, sir? Like, what's going
it's
on there?
crimson and cream, so they're very, very
Crimson and cream. I don't want to know where the cream comes from. I'll tell you that.
Oh, it's from all of the cows. We
I'm sure it is. So we got your website up here, Matt, and the very
we've
first
got
thing I see here is something on Doug to Naple. What's going on here, man?
Yeah, well, there we have a combination of content from our universe on there and reviews of stuff. And right there, FlyFox Pro did a video review of Doug TeNaple's Black Cherry, and we have that featured there. You can go check it out. It's on YouTube as well on FlyFox's channel, but we have a dual posting there. We've also got some links to other stuff that I've written, to old blog posts and reviews, other comic projects we're involved in, and stuff dating all the way back to 2007. But it's not all of our archives aren't put back there yet. Plus, if you go up at the top of the page, there is a thing that says encyclopedia, and it's got a bunch of our characters' profiles on there.
Yeah.
And including the two characters that Rick drew earlier there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, what is the name of this site? How do people find this site?
It's idealcomics.net.
Yeah, and
Idealcomics.net.
and there is a link in the description for it as well.
Yeah, it's got like
There you go, peoples.
a real kind of like URL ending to it instead of something weird like .ca.
Yeah.
Hey now.
Yeah, we are all American. That's true.
Cross Comics says we need Mo Dead Air.
So, you got your serials here for different stuff, archives, the encyclopedia, High Plains mini comic, and about.
Which there's not a lot on that yet. We gotta get that
Yeah.
up fixed there, but that's okay.
So
Yeah, and the series are all web comics that are part of our shared universe. So it's got Forces of Good and Evil, which is a superhero high school comic about kids in superhero and supervillain high school and the wacky hijinks they get into. It's mostly played for laughs with just a little bit of teen angst. We are currently on hiatus with that story. We just finished up a big story arc, so we're on hiatus while we work on some other projects. But there are almost 600 strips that you can go through there. One of the other ones, one of our other serials is Z Bites, which is a zombie adventure. That is we're working on behind the scenes to get new material up for that one. That one just recently joined our universe. The fellow creator of that, Chris Lore, has been a longtime fan and has been working on this with some artists for a spell, and he decided to bring it on over and incorporate it into our history.
Yeah. You were talking with him last Tuesday, I believe, which is, when I asked you to come up for today.
Yeah. And he's pretty regular on our Tuesdays, as we're working on building something awesome with it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I like the faux competitive or combative nature between him and Barry.
Oh, yeah, they're.
It's very entertaining.
Barry tries to strike up a fight with about everyone he knows, so it's an interesting little hobby of his.
So, how did you come up with the idea for Ideal Comics exactly?
Well, actually, the thing kind of started back. My buddy Chris Lawton and I, way back in the day, like probably 2002. Actually, even before 2000, we decided to try to work on writing something together, and we worked on this idea and that idea, and kind of the first idea we really felt had a lot of legs to it was Force of Good and Evil. We tried pitching that to Mad Magazine, and they didn't want it, and we weren't sure what to do with it. So we kind of sat on it for a while, and each of us tried to develop different properties, and we were trying to get into some indie anthologies and stuff, trying to pitch ideas around. And we'd meet every week at a place here in town called Country Kitchen, and we'd review each other's stuff and talk about our most recent rejection letters. And pretty soon we realized that all of the stories we were writing kind of had these common threads, and they could take place in the same universe. And so we decided to write them into one universe and not tell anyone, was our original idea. And then if he got on somewhere, if he was able to sell a story, then he tried to use that to try to have an indoor for me to try to sell a story to someone. And after about 6 months more of all of that, Chris says to me on a rainy night in June or July, he says, let's make a universe. Let's just try this self-publishing thing. And so we kind of did. I mean, it was 2005, and we just started working on stuff and connecting with artists. And in January 2006, we took forces and we made it a webcomic that we both drew. Chris did the pencils and I did the inks, and it was horrible. And horrible is maybe an exaggeration of it, but it's kind of rough in places because neither of us are artists, But that's the thing. We just went with it, So
yeah. Oh, that definitely sounds good. I guess what got you into comics, or writing, or both? Actually, I guess they might be separate, or they could be joined.
I've always loved stories, right? Even before I was really into comics, and I grew up reading comics in like out of the newspaper and stuff. When I was 11, we moved up from Oklahoma to Nebraska, and back there in Tulsa where I lived, I was a big fan of the DuckTales cartoon. And I got up here and there wasn't on any of the television stations, So I was wandering through our local grocery store one time, and I was 10 or 11, and I happened to cross an old Gladstone Comics at the time was doing reprints of the Carl Barks Uncle Scrooge adventures that were the origin where they got the idea for DuckTales, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw these on the shelf, and I'm like, ooh, and so I started picking them up, and before you know it, I noticed that right next to there is a Batman. And so I start reading that, and one second, I had a cough there for a moment.
Yeah, no problem.
So I started picking up Batman and Green Hornet and those kind of things, and I just was kind of digging on it. And there was an issue. I cannot remember the number of it, but it was the February '91 issue where Commissioner Gordon has a heart attack. Mm-hmm. And it was Alan Grant, Norm Brayfogle, Steve Mitchell was the art team on it, and it just hit me, and I was hooked, man. It was a life-changing moment with that, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, you know. Was to be able not just to impact somebody, but to tell stories that meant something, you know. And so that's how I got into wanting to be a creator. I've been, you know, writing stories since then. I've been working at it semi-seriously, you know, since for a while, but you know.
Yeah.
So I've lots of stuff on the thing, but that's kind of where we're at. In 2007, we published our first anthology, and which is available as an e-comic on the website there. If you the shop link.
Yeah.
We've got several e-comics. We've got our 2 anthologies. We've got some mini comics. We even have an album or an EP actually of chiptune music that is the soundtrack to one of our webcomic stories. That's also available as part of the download there, the Game Boy story. Carlos Rodriguez, who's did the art for Skinny's Otis Stein story. He did the art for that story with The Wrong Train earlier this year, and so that's up there. Yeah. And these are all. We've also got the Joe Jobs, The Past Never Dies, and that's a slice of life comedy story set in a fast food joint in Wisconsin, so we have a bunch of just different genre stuff. So, and they're all part of one universe. So, whether you want to see something that's, you know, that the one story there, the 7 Quests of the Savage Norseman, it's kind of like a Silver Age Superman story in terms of having just a little bit of action and a lot of silliness and fun. It's the origin of the Savage Norseman, how the 7 quests he goes through to become the Savage Norseman, from just, you know, punch around, you know, easily bullyable kid Sven Henriksen to become a superhero. So, but yeah.
Cool.
Just lots of stories that are all part of our thing. So
yeah, lots of content. Maybe we'll go over some of the characters. Skater, maybe tell some people about Skater.
You have an echo, Rick.
Is that me or somebody else?
I'm going to assume it's you, unless you brought someone else new in, because we were fine up until just a few seconds ago.
Damn it, Larry.
Am I busting Rick's balls?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, so Skater is the younger son of some of a couple of our Bronze Age characters, named Mineshaft and Ariel. And their story is featured in our second anthology, Zing 2. But Skater is like the younger son. His older brother went away to Hero High School, a different one than is in Forces. And Skater stayed behind to take care of their mom, who is debilitatingly mentally ill after her husband's murder. She just snapped. And so Skater's left behind and just kind of tried to figure out what to make of it. He comes from a hero legacy. His great grandfather was the Tommy Knocker, a minor themed hero from the 40s. And so he's got a heroic legacy he wants to live up to. Trust the government, and has a real street level attitude toward justice. So,
Come on, man.
yeah.
I think next up is Rapunzel. If you want to tell people about Rapunzel.
Rapunzel is also a legacy character. She is her grandmother. Medusa was a supervillain in the 40s, and retired and had a family, and then her daughter was the Silver and Bronze Age character Godiva, who ended up becoming a well-known and famous hero, and then ended up having Rapunzel as a daughter. And Rapunzel is very serious about being a hero. She's a student in Forces. She was one of the first characters introduced in Forces, and she's kind of introduced as the little red-haired girl, non-requited love interest for our one villain student, Greg Mason. And but she's got her own story. Eventually, she'll leave high school and go on an apprenticeship and go to Hero College, and then end up working as a field agent for the Department of Education in the Paranorm unit. And in our universe, we call anybody with powers Paranorms. They sometimes they could be mutants, they could be magic characters, they could be the result of some sort of radioactive bug bite, whatever. But the term that's uniformly applied to them is Paranorm. And
so I could be wrong, but I'm getting a little bit of a My Hero Academia feel to the universe.
I suppose that's pretty. You could say that. It wasn't that certainly was not an intention.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure who came up with stuff first, you or them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's maybe even parallel, but we created Rapunzel back in 2006.
Yeah.
So,
but then again, all that might have even come out of. I'm not sure whether you watched the movie Sky High.
Yeah. We used to, and that's actually one really funny thing. We've been doing this so long that people have said, "Well, oh, this is just like Sky High," and it's like, no, we came up with our idea first. But then they're like, now people are like, oh, this is just like My Hero Academia, and I said, no, not really, but sort of. But let's be honest. I mean, when we were first trying to explain it to people, we said if Saved by the Bell was the X-Men, that might be kind of what we were talking about. It's a superhero school, but it's also in Forces it's played for laughs, although the universe itself is not played for laughs, but.
I'm going to pretend I just didn't hear that last line. Saved by the Bell is X-Men? Blasphemy.
No. Well, yeah, you might not like my comic then, Larry.
No, I'm sure I'm going to like it just fine. But Saved by the Bell, yeah, that was a really weird, tacky, cheesy show. The only good thing about that show was Tiffany Amber Thiessen was her name? The girl that played Kelly?
Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She was an attractive one. I mean, part of the thing is like Saved by the Bell. The one thing it does right is that it is super cheesy, but it is also super aware of its cheesiness. So but you get a little extra points when you're trying to do something, I think. And that's one thing we really wanted to have. We were one of our big inspirations with kind of framing the cross genre style we wanted to go with. In our universe was in the late 90s, the early aughts, DC Comics was putting out some really unique like blends of stuff, right? You had super serious stories like Sandman, like the stuff that was going on with Batman, and like even the dark-edged Aquaman stuff that Peter David had been doing recently, and of course Starman was one of my big favorites. But also you had Young Justice, where the action was superhero action, and the drama was drama. A lot of comedy worked in there. You had Impulse stuff that was that Todd Knock was doing and stuff like that. That was just super cartoony and super fun. and didn't take itself so seriously. You had stuff like Hitman, Garth Ennis's Hitman, which was, it was just fun stuff.
You mean Bret Hart, sir?
No, not that one. Tommy Monaghan, man, Tommy Monaghan. Everyone's favorite lapsed Irish Catholic.
Timothy Olsen starts putting a few comments here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if this was going to be X-Men Saved by the Bell, right? Like, would Zach be Cyclops?
I suppose he would have to be.
Right. And then we have Professor Screech, okay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kelly would have to be Jean Grey-ish, right?
Sure.
And then I'm not sure what the African-American black girl's name is, but she would be Storm. You know what I mean?
Oh, Slater would be Wolverine.
Slater would be Wolverine? Okay.
Slater would be Wolverine.
All right, we got something here. Let's contact these guys.
Oh, I see that my internet reconnected just as you're on the page of my favorite character of yours.
Yeah, so this here is Buckskin Boone, and Buckskin Boone is the oldest kid at Hero School, and he's 26, and no one's thought to graduate him or kick him out yet, because that's how together the super school system is. But he just keeps showing up. He is my love letter to everything I love and everything I hate about being from the high plains out here. He's kind of a redneck, kind of a hick, kind of a ignorant person, but he's also like got a heart of gold. And I really love telling Boone stories. One of my favorite devices with Boone is he is coming up with what we call Booneisms, which are turns of phrases or expressions that feel like there's something that a rural person would say, but they aren't.
Yeah, it's like Rickyisms from Trailer Park Boys. Instead of like worst case scenarios, like worst case Ontario situation. You know what I mean? Instead of like, it's not rocket science, Julian. It's not rocket appliances, Julian. Well,
I've not seen Trailer Park Boys, but I imagine it's something like that.
Well, dude, no one wants to admit that they ate 10 cans of ravioli in one sitting. Okay.
I suppose that's true. But it's the sort of thing like, well, that's a real Douglas County hoedown. What?
Well, also like, because you said your love letter to that place and people from it. I like how his ignorance of terminology comes into play, like in the Big Apple story. He's actually looking for the biggest apple.
Yes,
and everything else is just kind of like a side consequence of what he's doing on the search for this thing that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's entirely true. So he's going to the Big Apple, and he thinks he's looking for a giant apple, but he ends up, And I told that entire joke, the entire story. I will unashamedly say, for those of you who haven't read it yet, it's called Buckskin Boone in New York City, and the entire story was written for the joke on the last page. I actually, when Chris and I were working on it, it was the summer of, I think, 08 or 09, and we were really busy. And so we didn't write it up ahead of time. We did it, a page at a time. So we had the beginning, the middle, and the end figured out before we started, and that was it. Ended up coming together pretty well, but I had saved that joke for the very last page, and I didn't tell Chris what it was. And and so when I told it to him, he looked at me and he's like, "Oh God."
Timothy Olsen says we have Rickisms on this channel and that they should start writing them down.
Well, no, he's asking, do we have Rickisms on the
No, I'm sure, Rick, you got your own Rickisms that they've overheard throughout the years. I guarantee it, man. And you guys should now start keeping a list.
I think we have more of at-Rick-isms, which are the things that people constantly say at Rick.
Evan's like, Rick, no.
Responses all the time. Yeah, Rick, no is one of them, too.
Gentlemen, I'm going to bounce, but Matthew, this looks cool. I would love to invite you on sometime if you want to, talk with me about it as well.
Sure, man.
I'm going to let, Rick do his thing and me stop interrupting every 5 minutes because I'm going to go be a weeb now. That's what
Do it, man. Do it.
Okay. All right, brother. Have a good one, man.
Catch you later.
I'll talk to you later, Larry.
Yeah. So this is actually ready to be the first one that I read, but the Buckskin Boone in New York was actually the first story of yours that I read.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like shortly after we'd interacted on a Marmaduke stream, and
Yep.
that was the one you had
Well-
sent me, and I liked it enough because I liked the humor in it that's what got me to start reading the other stuff.
Well, I'm glad. That was the funny thing is when we wrote it, like I said, we kind of flew from the seat of our pants, and when we wrapped that story, I was super unhappy with the way it turned out. And I was like, well, at least I got to tell my bad joke. And I went back and read it about a couple years later, and I was really surprised at how cohesive the entire thing was. I knew like individual pages were good, and I was happy with the art in it. I think that's I'm not 100% certain on this, but I really felt like that was the moment when our art stopped being entirely amateur. We're still not. I mean, even when Chris, stopped doing the art, it still was never, pro level. But I think it stopped looking like kindergarten scribbles around then, and so. But
you get to a point where when you feel that it stops being totally amateur is when you feel that your forms are starting to be consistent, randomly attempting to draw what you're looking for.
Yeah. And there were certain things with specific elements of character design where I was starting to be able to pick up on, like, okay, so this is what Buckskin Boone's nose looks like, and this is what Breakdown's nose is, and some of that stuff where you're able to get those characters looking consistent. So.
Yeah.
So I see you're resting there on the Golden Rapid.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is one of the fun parts about our universe is that, we have a little bit of everything in here, right? And the Golden Rapid is actually an alien from a amphibious species of aquatic aliens from a planet within the constellation Aquarius. So those of you who might not know, the constellation Aquarius is actually part of one system. It is gravitationally linked, much of it, which is rare for the constellations. Most of them are not near each other at all.
Yeah, it's an optical illusion that you pick them up. They're usually not actually close at all. Yeah.
Yeah, which is actually the remarkable thing, how consistent that they've been over the centuries for not actually being anywhere near each other. But like Orion's belt is part of a system, and large parts of I'm not sure what all of it is, but there are systems within Aquarius. Anyway, so in the early or in the late 30s, I'm going to forget his name.
Yam
right
something?
now, but anyway, this yes, Yam Lee, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, he was sent from from his planet to Earth to tell the humans to get their acts together. And by the time he got here, World War II was breaking out all over the place, and so he ends up becoming trying to spread his message of peace and having to defend the people that are being attacked. So he ends up being a superhero, and his coming coincides with the heroic era beginning, or the new heroic era, where all of these superheroes from around the planet, but mostly from North America, just appear. So they end up intervening in World War II in our universe and stopping it in 43 instead of 45. They're the first thing the heroes do is they take out the Japanese factory system so that they can't build war machines, and then from there they go into Europe and end the whole war sooner. There's no atomic bomb over Hiroshima and Nagasaki in our universe, and the 20th century history has drastically changed because of that. And so then the heroes, because of the alien technology that the Golden Rapid brings with him, they start the rebuilding across the world from World War II, and start with new technology, and the whole geopolitical landscape is different at that point. And then in 1950, Christmas 1950, the Golden Rapid gets a message from his home planet that there's some sort of danger, and so he hops in his spaceship and takes off again, and leaves his sidekick behind. And so that's kind of part of his story, and I'm very, very tickled about that whole thing. We actually, a few years back ago, we had our this is no more than a few. This is 2010, 2012, something like that. We ended up losing all of our website, and having to go just kind of start from scratch, re-upload forces and everything. It was a huge pain. Some of it because we actually lost some of the files. Anyway, in that time, Chris and I wrote a novella as a fill-in because we were able to put idealcomics.net up as a blog at that point. And so we wrote a little weekly novella that I am working on editing and getting some pictures for and doing it up as an illustrated e-novel, which I hope to have ready next year. So
is that going to feature the Golden? Yeah. Does that feature the Golden Rapid?
Yes, it does. It is called. I guess I didn't explain that. It's the story of his trip from Earth, and it's called 1951: An Odyssey.
Okay. So I guess with that, you're going to go into what happens on his planet and all that that he has to deal with.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but it's him and his sometime romantic interest, Pam Dawson, rocketing through space toward their home world. They're going to get waylaid along the way a couple of times and find out some of the other denizens of our space, because they're not alone
in the universe
out there in space. So, but it's a real throwback to like Lost in Space, a little bit Buck Rogers kind of stuff.
Sounding cool for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have that up there. We haven't. It hasn't been around for. I mean, nobody's seen it in a long time. And like I said, we're going to do some edits with it and make sure the art's where we want it to be. We did have Rolf Gerdeau, who's our most recent Forces artist, did some sketches that we hope to put up in there. But so. Game Boy is one of our characters from our webcomic Forces. He is eternally 14. He's can convert himself into video games. He can live in digital media.
You can find him running around Twitter.
You can occasionally find him running around Twitter. He's not on Twitter real often. I think he might get bored with it.
Yeah, it's the same stuff over and over again for the most part.
It is, and when you live between the cycles in a processor, Twitter is just real dull. So
you might actually end up getting along really well with my character, the Wiz, who's probably about his age, maybe a little younger when he starts, 12 or 13. But he has like advanced technology and all that. So
yeah, Chris wanted, when we created Game Boy, Chris wanted a way. Well, there's two things Chris wanted. One was he wanted to create a legacy character that would not live up to his legacy, and he wanted to create a character that was also his excuse to make video game jokes. Chris is a longtime video gamer, and he wanted to be able to throw video game references into stuff. And so Game Boy was kind of our answer to that. And he is the grandson or great grandson of one of our Golden Age characters called the Gamesman, and the Gamesman has I think it's just the grandson of the gamesman. But the gamesman had 2 sons and a daughter, and one of his sons became the second gamesman. And both of them are featured in Zing 1 in our last story called A Lesson in Life. Then the second gamesman ends up retiring through mysterious circumstances, and his view is Game Boy, but Game Boy doesn't really know the rest of his family. He's kind of estranged from all of that, and he's the only one with powers per se. The rest of them, I mean, the first gamesman is a hunting themed, kind of like a Green Arrow kind of guy, archery and knife play and that kind of thing. The second gamesman is like board game, like poker themed kind of thing. So he uses a staff. He's been known to use a staff with a chess piece is on it and all that kind of stuff. Or his second costume is like a craps table outfit. And so that's kind of the gamesman's shtick. But then Game Boy is, of course, the next iteration of games being video games, and that's his sort of thing. He's fun. Actually, that the one panel there, that his one profile picture with the Street Fighter II console is actually from one of our stories, and it is it's from that's actually a screenshot that I ended up coloring up from one of our Forces stories called "Happy Birthday, All Your Friends Are Here," and it's I think one of the funniest. I think it's one of the funniest stories we've had there because it's just ridiculous. But
yeah, it'd be neat to see him in some modern games.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, we do have a series of, and if you on the Forces page, if you go under the pick a story option, you can look at Game Boy's adventures, and we do have a series of postcards where he's been to visit other games as postcards, and classic television shows too.
Okay, am I on the right page here?
Yeah, if you go down there under the page where it's got pick a story, I think.
Select chapter?
Yeah, that's one, select chapter.
Okay, and Game Boy's Adventures. The A-Team, cool. Well, I'm not sure how that fits. Okay, so do I have to go?
Yeah, so because he can travel to anything that's been digitized, there's of him in classic TV too, in TV land. And I think if you click to the right there, it'll take you to the next television program.
Gilligan's Island. Cool. See a few of these. Oh, MacGyver, the real MacGyver.
Sporting the NES for Life T-shirt, if I recall.
Guess there's a whole bunch of I Dream of Jeannie. Okay, we gotta get a video game here. Come on, video game. Okay, we gotta get a video game here. Come on, video game. Uber Mutt?
Well, that shouldn't be with that collection. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, so if you go back again, one more, and the bottom of the screen there where you can pick the selected, and where it has the one under selected chapter. I can't remember what that's called even right now.
Jump 2? Oh, Donkey.
And yeah, Jump 2. That's the one.
Oh, here, Donkey Kong. Now he's Mario.
Okay, I'm actually gonna my computer is telling me I got to plug it in, so I'm going to jump off the camera and see if I can do that before it dies on me.
Okay. We'll hold on for you. I'll bring up another profile.
Yeah, or at least we'll try. Can't make any promises.
Encyclopedia. Some cool characters here for sure. And he's got some free stuff. His stuff is fairly cheap, I'd say, for the digital stuff. Like 50 cents, call me a croak. $3, $2.50, 50 cents, 75 cents, 50 cents. $2, $2. So let's see, 4, 5.75, 8.75, 8.75 and 2.50, 10.75, 11.25. For just under $12, you can pick everything up. That's on the website. So, and Timothy, there's only one Z in Wiz. And why would it be time to take a whiz as battle cry? It would be more like something tech, I don't know. Time to texturize you. That's from my character.
What if he just wants to, show dominance, like assert dominance in Marcus territory on the villain?
And I return.
Yeah, we're just showing off the shop, saying you can pick everything up here for just under, $12, I think they said?
Yeah, it's something like that. We're going to be adding a couple products here coming up here. We had some overprints from our con exclusive Z-Bytes issue 1. We did a special printing of that with the Ideal Comics branding on it. Yeah. And we're going to be offering physical products on about 5 of those books on the shops here. So
cool.
It'll be $5 for the books, $5 shipping. That's what that.
Probably international might be a little bit more shipping. Any idea how much for the international shipping you might be charging, or?
Well, I have no idea. I've never shipped anything international before.
And by international, at this point, I mean Canada, not like.
Well, I assume.
Somewhere freaky, like New Zealand. Or
I guess that's true. I mean, I may on the page, I might only offer shipping to the U.S. But if you really want a copy,
what you could probably do, what I did on my site is I added a separate thing. Said this one's for the U.S. This one for Canada, one for the U.S. and one for something beyond there, and different prices. And it was the same price for the book, no matter what. But then the shipping was different for each one.
So.
And you just make sure everybody knows.
Yeah. So that's. Oh yeah. Well, of course, and Josh, what's his name, over with the Science Wizard Comics, who's been shipping out the Wandpool stuff. He was saying that it's cheaper to ship stuff out from Canada than it is to ship stuff to Canada.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, it's because if I want to ship across country, I have to have tracking on it. But if I send it down to the States or anywhere else, I can take the tracking off.
Oh.
Which then the Canadian Postal Service is insane.
Yeah, that's insane. So who is the fellow I'm looking at here with the leather jacket and the blaster?
Oh, that's me. Cosplay my favorite cartoon character.
Captain N.
Captain N. Kevin
Captain
King.
N.
I always think of him when you bring up Game Boy.
Oh yeah. Well, Captain N was one of the inspirations behind Game Boy, right? Because that was actually how Chris started. Is he said he wanted to make something like video game references, and he's like something like Captain N. So he started playing with it a little bit and tweaking it a little bit, and we got a little bit of Captain N and a little bit of Kid Vid from the Burger King Kids Club. And then we kind of took the powers from Flynn from Tron, the ability to manifest within the grid kind of idea. And we actually I've had a lot of fun. We ended up developing an entire like digital world. Like there are rules within our cyberspace. Actually, we call it the networks, and it's a world within the world. It's an analog creation that just formed automatically next to the physical world when computers got complex enough. And so there actually are societies within the networks made up from people and their avatars and AIs and all kinds of stuff. So that a little bit in Forces. And I started writing a web novel that I didn't finish about the Bastard Loire that I will someday finish. That goes into that more in depth. But
Cool.
But yeah, so there you go. That's all. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Bridget, I see you got that there. So she is actually a goddess. She is the Irish goddess Bridget, who was banished to the other world with the other Danan gods, and she was called forth during the Battle of Britain by a druidess, and ended up basically becoming a hero until her mission on Earth was done, and she just faded back into the other world.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So I take it her and Lutz still don't get along.
We haven't gotten into that a whole lot, but you're probably right. If I know anything about the Irish, and I know a little bit, it's that they tend to hold grudges for a really long time. It's not just the Irish either. As American Welsh, I'm still pretty pissed at France for letting William the Bastard actually leave.
Yeah.
And
just letting Norman kings come in. Honestly, I would have preferred the old French rule over the Normans anyway.
Yeah. There's a fairness to that too. The Plantagenets and all that.
Yeah.
Plantagenets, the Carolingians.
Mm-hmm.
But so the Immigrant is kind of our modern day Superman. He is the most famous hero in the from the Bronze Age up till 2012 anyway. He fashioned himself kind of as the people's champion. Everyone loves him. He flies. He's super strong. He's got electric vision. Shoot lightning bolts out of his eyes. So he's the main hero in Urbania, South Carolina, which is one of our big cities. And so a lot of our other side note is a lot of our universe was inspired by the way DC Comics did it, right? It's not necessarily a take on DC, but I love their fictional geography. And I love the post-crisis legacy aspects. So we built those. One of my favorite comic writers, probably my favorite comic writer, is Roy Thomas. I just love what he did with taking history seriously, and so that's a big part of what we baked in. So we have a bunch of fictional cities, and Urbania is one. We've got New Bremerhaven up in Washington. Down over in California is Presidio, California, which is on the north end of the bay across the way from San Francisco. Kingston in Michigan on the Copper Peninsula, and southwest of Denver, up in the mountains, is Fremont City. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff. So this immigrant started his career amongst the hippie colonies in Presidio and ended up in the 80s relocating to Urbania. So
Cool. The Invisible Hippie. That's a neat name. That sounds like something Evan would come up with. The headless
Invisible
hippie.
Hippie.
Yeah.
The Invisible Hippie is a character we created kind of as a gag, but he also has a serious history. There are some gag strips featuring the Invisible Hippie as fill-ins over on Forces of Good and Evil. I'm going to be reorganizing the archives a little bit here in the next month to make some of those side stories easier to find. But he also, 2 stories feature the Invisible Hippie in Zing 2. One is called The Invisible Hippie in Fun with Junk, and that is a story from, I think 2006 is the time date on it. It was actually written in 2010, I think. But it was set in 2006, I think. The Invisible Hippie goes to the old Treasures Caravan, which is definitely not the Antiques Roadshow. And he goes to sell a bunch of old junk that he's got. And wackiness ensues there. Another story is called Armor of the Gods. Features the immigrant and the Invisible Hippie facing off against their arch nemesis, Professor Putty. So.
Oh, you see, you don't have the Invisible Hippie on the.
Yeah, we do not have a profile for him yet. We have hundreds of characters. I don't have profiles written up for all of them, even the ones that I have backgrounds for. I just haven't gotten to all of them yet.
It's so hard to snap a picture of the guy.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Well, he's camera shy, you might think.
Sounds a little bit like me, hundreds of characters.
I think most people have a bunch of stuff in their reservoir. It just takes so much time to get it out.
Yeah. That right there, I'll point out Greg Mason. That is, of course, our co-star of Force of Good and Evil. He's the goody two-shoes nerd that ends up getting sent to supervillain high school. And he is also the star character of Joe Jobs, which follows his career after high school. The one Joe Jobs story we have is in 2012, I think it's when it's set, and maybe 13. But it is Greg has spent the last 10 years after high school or whatever it is, but just working crap jobs, and this is his most recent job at the Whoop-De Burger. But yeah, Greg is being trained to be a villain in the pages of Forces, and he's going to decide that that's not what he wants out of life. So he ends up rejecting that after high school, and just taking on the thing there. So
Cool.
Illustration is actually done by Barry. That was a panel from National Villainy, which is a story that we told back in 2014 about the first annual National Villainy competition where Greg's school participated in.
Okay.
And won. Yeah. They all go down to Fremont City, and it's like a giant track meet for villains. But yeah.
Sounds interesting for sure.
Yeah. That story, it's super fun. It involves Greg and his villain school friends. And it is legitimately like 93 pages. it's a long one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it was real fun to tell, but it was a long story to go through.
Pulp Heroes. Oh, there's something that what's his name would like. Eagle. Pulp Heroes. Oh, that's what's his name. Boone.
Yep, that's Boone, Pulp Heroes. And this is actually a set of 3 stories that are pulp style stories, where it's a little bit of text and a little bit of whatever, like text and pictures, just like in pulp novels. So that actually, and the most of the interior art was done by Barry. But that cover is actually mine, so I'm pretty tickled about that. I think it turned out pretty good for not really being an artist.
I find it weird that pulps aren't very popular anymore, especially with how popular light novels are in Japan, which are basically just pulps.
See, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is they're kind of the same thing, but it's like it hasn't really found a market here if it's not like Japanese.
Yeah,
but of course I've got I'm friends with name. We're really good friends, so I can totally remember his name always.
So who's this big guy?
Oh, that's Mr. Chisel. That's actually a villain that Barry created. He's Living Rock.
Cool, Mr. Chisel.
And he's a monster. And in this story, he's broken out of jail to go back to his mother's house because he's been 20 years in the clink. And when he gets there, the whole place has been demolished, and he has no idea what happened to his mom. And I can't remember if in the story if she's passed away and he's found that out, or what the story is. I can't remember, but basically the whole house was torn down while he was
in the clink.
In the clink in jail. Yep. And in super jail, and he runs into Breakdown. Breakdown is one of our hero school characters, and he all he wants out of life is to be a mechanic. But he loves building things. He loves the idea of making machines. But he has his superpower is any machine he touches breaks down, and so he can't use any machine more complicated than a pencil. And so with that, he goes. The way the story sets up is the Breakdown goes down to this building site where he's watching them put up a building, and he's just being depressed because he's useless, and he's stuck in hero school, and he's got a lame power, but he's in hero school because he's got a power. And then this guy comes by and starts to tear up the place, and so Breakdown has to stop him. So
sounds neat for sure.
Yeah, I'm all 3 of the stories in Pulp Heroes, I really enjoyed all 3 of them. The second one is about Demon Priest, and his it's called The Bet. And in National Villainy, Demon Priest, who's one of the villain students and is a half demon, met a vampire girl that he has sweet on, and she's from Chicago and he's from Wisconsin. And so they're communicating over text messaging, and they challenge each other to find out who's the more evil. And it's a series of them trying to follow up with a bet. That was a fun one. I really enjoyed that one.
Well, I have the feeling the person from Chicago has an unfair advantage on being the most evil there.
You'd think so, but you'd have to check it out to see where it comes out with that one.
Yeah, this looks really, really good.
Barry did the art on those. There, I was really happy with that. He's got a real talent. Barry does. He's currently in the middle of redrawing all of the pages that we had done for our Expositioner comic we crowdfunded a couple years ago.
That I'm still waiting for.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, our other artist. I don't want to speak ill of him. He had some stuff come up, and he just decided this was something he couldn't do. and cut out about halfway through the book. So, what can we do with half a book? So, Barry's starting over from the beginning.
So, how long are these books? Like
those anthologies are 64 pages each.
Okay.
Yep, they're 64 pages, all black and white. The Savage Norseman story, that's 12 pages, if I recall correctly. Wrong Train with Rapunzel is 8. And that's all colored. The Mark Question versus meets the Lord of the Shoes, that is a 12-pager as well. That's black and white. The Croak, Call Me Croak, is the one with the eyeball on it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get a different cover for it at some point, but that's what it is right now. But that one is an 8-pager. Now the Game Boy one there is actually it's a mini comic, or it's a I think it's a 24-page story that's there. But the main feature is the album, is the EP. It's a 3-song chiptune EP that was written and performed by Spaghetti Lord 1010. He's got a YouTube channel out there. He does electronic music and acoustic music, fun stuff. And we have a 4-track album, or 4-track EP that is the soundtrack to Wild Blue Internet.
Timothy's like Lord of the Shoes.
Yes.
I guess he'd like to know a little bit more about that.
Okay. So basically, Mark Question is a paranormal detective. He's a private investigator in New Bremerhaven, Washington, in the 30s and 40s. This story is set in 42, if I remember right, but I might be wrong about that. But it's set back then, and he gets a call on a murder-suicide at this rich person's estate on the edge of town. He goes there, and the cops are like, something's weird about this, and the family is yelling that there's something wrong because it came out of the blue, so we called you. There is a weird painting on the wall of a man with a pair of shoes. And he finds out that the painting is called The Lord of the Shoes, and it was made by somebody. They thought it was a Botticelli, but it's not. And Mark starts to investigate and finds out that bad luck follows anybody who has the painting. And so he's got to kind of track that down. So
that sounds cool and interesting. And of course, the last
that actually is a fun. I think the story I really like, but I'll tell you, I think the making of is actually a little more interesting. So a number of years ago, this is back in 2009, we were going to host the first ever High Plains Mini-Con in Scottsbluff, and we were going to rent some space and make it happen. We were going to charge just a very small amount of money for tables and stuff. Well, nobody signed up, and so we canceled it before it ever happened because nobody had signed up at all, and we couldn't rent the venue without having some money up front for it. And so, but one of the things we were wanting to do as Ideal back then was we thought, wouldn't it be cool at a con to make an entire comic right there on the floor of the con? There were 4 of us that were a part of the company at the time. There was myself and Chris Lawton and Barry Tetz and Joe Carradine, who was at that time was one of the artists we worked with some mini comics, and I think he was doing Forces at the time too. And we said, well, all of us can draw a little bit, and 2 of us can draw well. And Chris and I are pretty crackerjack writers, so why don't we try to do this whole 12-page comic in 12 hours, right? And so we set up at our local comic shop. When they first opened in the morning, we got there like 8:30 or whatever. I think they may have let us in a little early. And we got our computers, and we got a bunch of paper, and we just wrote and drew all day long. we did not make the goal, right? We actually got quite a ways into it. With all four of us working on it together.
Yeah, because two of you,
script.
as soon as you get the first page done, you can have somebody start drawing the first page. So.
Yep, and that's what we did. Is we came up with a skeleton for the story. We wrote 2 script pages. We printed them out, gave them to the artists to work on while we worked on the other thing, and then we all took turns inking and everything, and we got a lot of it done. We got about just less than 3/4 done with pencils and inks. We ended up, but then the pages just sat around for a long time, and a few years ago I went through and inked the rest of the stories, and inked and penciled. I penciled like the last 3 pages and worked on inks on it, and then somewhere along the line we lost page 9.
Oh, lovely.
And so last year, last winter, my son Taliesin, who is quite a good artist, he's 17 right now, but he's quite good, and he redid page 9, and so there are 5 artists that contributed to that book, 2 writers, 5 artists, and it's 12 pages. I think it's 50 cents is I think what we're asking for it.
Yeah, 50 cents
as a mini comic, but it's super fun. I went through and did gray tone coloring for it. So it's got kind of a manga, kind of a noir feel to it, and I really like it. So.
And of course, the last one is JoJo's The Past Never Dies.
Yeah, Joe Jobs, The Past Never Dies. And I was talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
That is of course it's Greg's most recent job, so to speak. I mean, it's to the last one we talked about. Thing. It's after a line of other jobs, and it's kind of a slice of life comedy take on it. But it also has a story that goes on where somebody from Greg's life past shows up to try to make his life a little tough, and Greg's not about that. So, but I really enjoyed it, and that was myself, the story, and some of the stories. Rico Kodos was the artist for most of it, and except one page, which I actually did pencils and inks on one page in it. Actually, I think I may have just done pencils. I can't remember now. Anyway, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on, and it's full color, and I think we're selling that for $250 if I recall.
Yeah. How many pages?
For the e-comic, 24.
Wow.
It's full size. Well, it's actually the print version because they're not normal size pages, so the print version is actually a little squatty. And I think it's about the same ratio as Matt Krott's Kyrie, actually. But it's not as hefty or as pretty. Nothing against Rico's stuff, but Matt Krott's stuff, his is just pretty in a way that a lot of artists aren't.
Yeah, it's got like an animated feel to it almost.
Yeah, very much. And just his use of colors is just so great. And I color this, so it's not that good. It's mostly flat colors. I actually really like the way that makes a lot of the art pop on it. Same with Rapunzel Wrong Train. Is pretty much flat colored. That's Carlos Rodriguez's art, and he's got this awesome stark woodcut style. And so I intentionally colored it plain, with pretty much just flat colors mostly, because it would make his line work just pop more. There's a few places I've added a little twinge here and there, but mostly I've tried to keep it pretty flat colors just because it makes his line work more, stand out more, and it deserves it. It's great.
And of course you've got the archives on the site.
Those archives are our blog archives.
Okay.
Everything on the site you can go through. If you go through that, it'll give you the all of our old blog entries and everything that are in there that we have up yet. And then you can break it down by particular type. Quarter Bin Follies is my column. Chris posting are Chris Lawton's old articles. Some of them are he didn't originally call them Chris posting, but I just called them all that for the sake of simplicity.
Yeah. Fly Fox.
Because some of the ones are actually stuff that he wrote from our original blog from 2007 that I was able to rescue from archive.org that we thought we'd lost forever. Flax from Fly Fox are entries that Fly Fox has contributed. Those are video articles right now.
Yeah.
For that. And a few more. We've got more stuff that's going to be going up there. I need to add last week's stream we did on my channel, and I want to add that one on there as well. And I am going to be doing. I thought I was going to get to it last week, but I did not. I hope I will this week. I'm going to be doing a review of the Asylum Studios mockbuster, A Sinister Squad, which is actually a much better film than Suicide Squad. So I'll be talking about that hopefully this week.
Okay, so about fans first. Okay, so what's fans first about?
Well, basically, it's part of our operating philosophy. Was the idea that we're fans first. The idea that we wanted to make comics that we want to read, and we want to make sure that we're considering the things we're making, not that we're making them for our own enjoyment, that we're making them for other people to enjoy them, and because of the same stuff that brought us to the medium. So, want a commitment to solid storytelling. We want to tell hero stories, even with our other genre stuff. We want them to be in that same kind of vein. So
Cool. Any questions from the chat? Metal? Any questions? Any
I don't really see any questions in the chat.
Yeah. No, I'm asking you any questions. Any questions?
It's hard for me. I have to think about what would be good questions because I'm already kind of used to this world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Another site that I gotta hopefully go to and start reading stuff.
Well, we have. If you count 4.
Hello? Count something?
You froze. We have hit a dilemma.
Hopefully he realizes he's frozen.
And doesn't talk about something for too long to have to repeat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been reading a few of this stuff, especially when they were reposting because they had to restructure their site not too long ago.
Yeah.
So it was an excellent time to really hop in because there wasn't much on there, and you could just read the old stories as he was posting them into the archive.
Yeah. We'll have to wait.
He does a thing called Forces Fridays.
Okay. He realized. We have to wait for him to get back to hopefully answer that question. Timothy?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Hey! You're back.
I guess I return. Yeah.
Well, Timothy in the chat asked, is this a passion project or a way to make money?
Yes.
That's how I would
Both.
I mean, okay, so it's like we've been doing this since 2006, right? Actually, longer, right? There isn't a way in the world that we're not going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep making comics even if no one buys them. But man, I'd love for people to buy them, right? we some of our artists that we've worked with in the past, we've worked out profit sharing is the thing we've got with it. So if there aren't profits, we can't share them. And I'd love to be able to get our artists some stuff because they bought into the dream. They said, we like what you're doing, we want to be part of it, and how can we make that happen? And so we have that. So, but even if it comes down that we're in the middle of some stuff and it doesn't go through, and I'm going to be picking up the pencil and finishing Forces out myself if I have to, so it's both. I want to make money at it. Of course, I want to be as professional as I can be. I want to be able to be producing quality product that people can dig on and love. But at the same time, if nobody, comics it's in the blood, so.
I think you answered it, but he sort of tries to clarify. Is it something you do for fun?
Oh, yeah. It'd have to be. I'm not making money at it.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, this is going to sound really pretentious, right? But it's sort of beyond the level of fun for me, right? I believe in these stories. I don't believe they really happened, but I believe they're really true, if that makes sense. I don't think that I could not tell the stories, If I spend too long and don't work on stuff, I start getting itchy on the inside of my soul,
Yeah.
So it's definitely a passion, but it's beyond the level of just is it fun. It's kind of something if I don't do there's something not right with me. So it's almost a compulsion.
Yeah, but as I was saying before, you got frozen. Yeah, I now have 2 sites that I have to go to and try and read everything on. Unfortunately, I'm not doing good on the one at all. Sorry, Metal.
But which is that? Oh, the medals? Oh, man, he's got a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody who hasn't been doing it that long, well, at least publishing stuff that long.
Well, I think a lot of that helps that you do the whole business, So
Yeah.
It does, but it doesn't
When
because
I do it.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't because it can get draining being the only one doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't pass off to the thing, but it becomes your baby or however you want to say it.
The problem is, I would probably be just as drained even if I wasn't the only one doing it, because I'm when I get productive, I get hyper productive. Doing art for the webcomic, I would be writing another story and trying to find somebody else to do art for another thing. Like I would be keeping myself busy. I would just be able to have more stuff. That would be the only difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would get equally drained.
Yeah, but you'd be drained getting stuff done instead of drained getting very little done or more done. I shouldn't say nothing, but you know what I mean, I think.
Well, and that's one of the things, too, that I know, like, where I'm at with stuff is one thing we've really tried to push for in the last year, but we're bringing other people's projects into the universe, people that kind of see what we want to do and want to be part of that. And like I said, we've got Chris's Z-Bytes that's in there. We've got Fly Fox Pro's his one story, Peter the Problematic Person, takes place within our universe, and we've been able to work out some stuff like that. That's just I get to, even if it's not me directly, I get to help other people and share my vision with other people. And when I think it comes to like building a universe, I was talking to the Mythoverse guys were on my show, my Thursday show a few weeks back, going over the Haunted or the Hallowed Harvest book. And I think it was Dan who said that it's humbling creating something that other people want to build into. And I get that. I really get that because I know that like with all that kind of stuff that, finding there are other people that want to invest in this world I've created. creatively invest in the world I've created. It's a heck of a thing. So
Timothy asks, will you be a regular guest on the show like Metal?
who knows, man?
Hey, if you...
Although, I would like to say I could never be a guest like Metal.
I don't think anyone could.
Yeah, he's always welcome to...
Well, maybe.
Yeah, Matthew's always welcome to come on, if he's I'm on, you can shoot me a message, hey, can I come on? Not that I'll necessarily get it because I don't look too much at Twitter while I'm on, but if he comes in the chat and says, hey, can I come on? Or if he wants me to put him in the place where I put the link all the time, so he can, just grab it if he wants. Sees it and grabs it. I'd be more than...
I do know that I'll come back again, Rick. It's been fun talking about our little world.
Yeah.
I'm busy often, so I can't commit.
Yeah.
You're really, really busy.
Yeah. I know
Family,
people. I know.
Life, making comics. When do you have time for anything?
Oh man. Well, and I do have a real life too. I've got a wife and kids, and
yeah.
I
understand.
the movie Gorgo.
I understand that people are busy. They have lives, outside of YouTube.
Shows.
Yeah. So.
Way too much.
Speaking of which, guys, tomorrow is of course the election, but me and the Ideal Comics guys are going to be doing our regular regular Tuesday hangout and get together. And if you guys want to come on and not talk about the election, you'd be welcome to. So
yeah, and there is a link for his channel for YouTube in the description as well. My mom did, I think, put it in the chat earlier. She put your your website and your Twitter and all that. Because I got Ideal Comics Twitter, I got the website, I got your Twitter in there. So, and of course, like I said,
we're also on Facebook. So you can check us out there. And
for the last few weeks in a row, I've been over on the Comic Jam.
Yep. Well, like having Metal's always got something fun to say, so. And plus, you're like one of the few people Barry doesn't try to fight with, so.
Yeah. Though we got into something.
Trying to remember what that was, because you guys, it was the
Final Fantasy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because he likes 7, but he hasn't really played anything other than 7, so it's like, man, there's so many people like that.
Yeah.
See, I haven't played any of them.
So much better. Yeah.
Here's the honest truth, right? Like video game RPGs, I don't care for the format, right?
Well,
it's like I love baseball, right? But I won't watch baseball on television.
Yeah,
you either
same
gotta
here.
be at the game or over the radio, because those announcers are the best, right? But yeah, I just can't do it over the TV. And I think RPGs are like that. If playing on the computer, it's just like, oh, I'm waiting for a computer. Are you serious? RPGs around a table. Oh, I could dig that. That's cool.
Which we actually will be doing this. We had to postpone it last weekend, but this Saturday we're doing the Final Fantasy tabletop here on.
Oh yeah.
Timothy says, I would, but I'm promoting my pre-launch tomorrow. Where are you promoting it? And what time is your show? Maybe he can come on and promote it, his Melvin book, because that's not talking about the election.
That's true. We will be going from 7 to 8:30, something like that tomorrow, and that's Mountain Time. So it's 9, whatever Eastern.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm usually a little late to Rick's show on Tuesdays, because that overlaps the start of his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been good.
I know. I was talking to Nick Mueller. He might be coming tomorrow. I'm not sure if anyone else will or not, so we'll see. But we're pretty much going to talk about doing like an open invitation for tomorrow, just because it's a special day that people might want to avoid thinking about the election.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what things will be like for tomorrow. How many people will be watching the election versus watching YouTube stuff that doesn't have to do with the election.
Yeah. So. Plus, it's always a good time to get together with the teams and talk about projects that are going on.
Yeah.
So. Last week we had we were talking about what we want to do with we're going to be re-releasing a final edition of Z-Bytes 1 coming up here in 2021, and we're going to be re-lettering it and doing some tweaks to the original art, because when the original artist did it wasn't in the same ratios as a comic page, so the print versions are all a little
wonky,
weird, and so we're gonna they're a little wonky. They're not terrible, but we're gonna go ahead and do some art stuff to reformat them and re-letter it, and that'll be happening after the new year. Probably I'll be working on it in between stuff as I'm working on some other projects. But coming up, we've got I've Been to Hell, which is a floppy comic that's a spin-off from Forces that we're going to be doing. It's going to get done, but the pencils are all done. They're working on inks and colors and lettering and stuff. But I think we're going to hope to crowdfund that next summer. We'll see. But
and Timothy says he's hoping to get on your show sometime, maybe to promote his comic.
Yeah, shoot me a message over Facebook or whatever.
Yeah,
work it out. I know, like, I've got somebody coming on next week, and I do remember their name at the minute. Because the Flock was going to come and he can't make it, and then so somebody else is going to, and I can't remember their name right now. Just skipping my head. But this week on my Thursday show is Doug Tenaple.
Ooh, that's good.
Fly Fox Pro and I are going to be tag team interviewing Doug about his copious catalog. So I just picked up a couple of his books from back in the day. Plus, I got the new editions of Bigfoot Bill 1 and Bigfoot Bill 2. So we're going to be talking to Doug about deep cuts, hopefully. So
cool. Timothy's
done so much really artistic and great stuff that I'm pretty sure he's actually a wizard, and that's why he's so tall.
It could be.
Timothy says he sent you a message on Twitter.
Cool. Sweet. Well, I don't want to seem ingracious, man, but I'm going to cut out. I haven't eaten yet today.
Yeah.
And, tonight. I ate today, but...
Yeah.
I'm actually eating right now.
Yeah. Well, we're about 20 minutes. We're just a little over our time to quit anyways. We usually quit at about midnight, so...
Okay.
Anyway, I can't think of any much more to say, so...
Okay.
So,
guys, thanks, Rick. Metal, thanks for having me on. It's been a kick to talk about my universe for sure.
And thank you for coming on and sharing your universe with everyone here.
Yeah, and of course on the shop. Before we go, one last thing on the shop. Everything is electronic. It's deliverable instantly and payable through PayPal. So,
well, that's always
there
good.
You go.
That's always good. Well. I guess instantly. I was going to say it might take as long as it takes you to find out that you actually got it.
Yeah, it does take a little while. I was able to. I went and bought some of my own stuff just to test the system out, and I was able to get stuff downloaded before I got the receipts that I had bought it. So,
Dylan was here early. Timothy. He was on a little bit early.
Well, he said he
before.
would get on to yell at you, and that's because you didn't have any drawings where you messed up anatomy real bad for Diller to have to jump on and yell at you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he cut out. But anyway, so like I said, I'm going to take off. And
Okay.
thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah, man. Probably catch you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Have a good one.
You too. Alright. So, like the saying, it's 10 minutes to not much to do. Do people want us to talk for the last 10 minutes about whatever?
I mean, we can. I'm just sitting here eating my Euro.
Yeah. Yeah,
I got another one after this too.
definitely a real good universe. I'd say, it's something I'd like to, spend that. Well, I guess it wouldn't quite be $12 for me. It'd probably be like 15, 16. Timothy says it's just not the same with Dillard not yelling at Rick. Well, I'm sure tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon he'll do it. And then, of course, what are they? Tomorrow? No, tomorrow night, because tomorrow night I will be drawing up one of my characters. Did sunset? I think I'm drawing up the flame tomorrow night. And of course, tomorrow afternoon I will be digitally coloring.
I mean, if you want, I could yell at Rick a little bit. Like, Rick, what are you doing? Your glasses aren't anatomically correct. And then be like, what? They're not living things. How could they be anatomically incorrect? Let me show you how it's done, Rick.
So yeah, another site that I need to go to now and check out and read stuff. Oh, when will I ever get the time?
Yeah, I actually remember the first time that I interacted with him was, like I was saying before we hopped in, YouTube Fans channel, which is a great channel. People should check that out if they haven't.
Yeah.
Marmaduke is totally like an Art Nouveau headspace kind of guy. That is great. You never know what type of content he's going to put up. But we were promoting his expositioner campaign that he talked about earlier on the stream.
Cool.
I backed it too. And what we were doing is Marmaduke used to do this thing, and he hasn't in a while, where he'd get a bunch of people on when we were promoting a campaign, and we would draw like the character of the book or one of the main characters. But we would draw it in like competitively in increasingly shortened time spans. So the first one we'd have like 5 minutes to draw it. Then we'd have like 2 minutes. Then we'd have a minute. Then we'd have 30 seconds. Then we'd have 15 seconds. Then we'd have 5 seconds, and that would be the last one. And we'd see how like everybody's came out at the end of each round. After a while, you kind of like start metagaming it. Like, okay, what tool am I going to use to draw this? Am I just going to use my brush pen? And how am I going to loosely do this? Is it going to be abstract or quick slashes and stuff like that? I think I actually won that time because I kind of like came with an idea for each round.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours of free draw related to the thing while we talked about it and they promoted their stuff.
Cool. That sounds good. I should get on his channel at some point.
Yeah, like I said, he hasn't done it in a long time, but if you contact him, he might schedule something.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking more for when, I go live with my Canadian Shield 2 Snowdrift campaign. Because,
it was all real fun.
Like I said, hopefully, I haven't set it up and I keep postponing it. I got to set up a quick thing for my coloring book, and then because I want to do that quick just to see what happens, I'm doing a $500. I'm gonna do like a $500 flexible goal for that, so that way I get the money no matter what, and it shouldn't cost too much to print it off. and all that. A few copies. No, it's gonna be like the Cult of Raven one. It's gonna be end up being similar to this.
That could be fun though. Let's just make a coloring book where it's just one theme and it is a flip book, so it's an animation, but you're having to color every single page of the animation.
Yeah, it's actually somebody did color. Can I bring it up quickly? Somebody did color. Showed off one of my drawings. How did I? Yeah. I did one of the drawings and sent it.
Oh, you're talking about a flip comic book. I thought you were talking about the coloring book. No. They're going to be two separate comic books. It's not going to be the Canadian Chill going one way and Snowdrift going the other.
Okay. Let's see what else. So Arlene from the channel. Let's see. Oh. Did colored in one of the things, I think digitally or whatever somehow via thing. Mixed media.
Okay, now it's time for Dillard to hop on and start yelling at Rick.
Okay, so that was quick. Didn't do any sort of doxing.
Evan was showing off the coloring book on his pumpkin carving stream, right?
Yeah.
And then when he flipped to the last page, you saw it was already colored, and he's like, "Oh, Mallet sent Evan one of the coloring book that he ordered." Because I remember watching him color that. I think he even said it too, but I remember watching him color that tree on stream.
Yeah, same here.
So I heard there were people boycotting you, Rick.
Yeah, so did I. I heard that on Metal Stream today. That apparently, or I should say Mallet. Both were. And Evan. And... Oh well. What can you do? What can you do when you live in a shoe?
Apparently have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Oh, he's asking why they're boycotting? I don't know if you noticed yet, but the group we hang out with are a bunch of trolls. Little games I like to play, Tim, so that should probably answer your question all on its own.
So it is 11:59. You want to promote Metal?
Yeah, I would tell people to go to xdynamuschaos.com if I even had uploaded anything since October 7th. But there is still plenty of stuff there that you can read. A lot of lore to the world that has been hidden in various character profiles. There are several prose stories that you can read, including, actually, there's an entire novel on there. If you get bored, you don't feel like paying the money to have it digitally on like your phone or something like that, you could just read the novel for free. It's just hard to find your place again on the site. and a bunch of comics. There's just everything's there. You could spend hours on the site and never leave it. I don't recommend that. You should probably go get something to eat. But I won't be mad if you spend hours on my site. So it's been rescheduled, but we are planning this weekend. There was an upset, but we're going to play Final Fantasy, the tabletop RPG, on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Timothy says, why Rick? Yes. Oh, then that means nothing. They do it, just to get a reaction out of me.
Yeah.
I'm not giving them much of a reaction, I don't think. Okay. Well, again, thank you for Metal coming on, and thank you for Matthew coming on, and Dillard and Rebel. We had a good time there. I know Rebel should be gaming. He's gaming.
He's actually live right now. I got the notification a bit before we ended.
Yeah, Gensing Impact. So if you want to go see him playing that, you can go over there.
One day you'll get this name right without me having to correct you. Genshin.
Gen and Hen. I don't know what. I don't know why I want to pronounce the G like a J.
Because you see G and then an E, and you think it's supposed to have the J sound. But this is pinyin for Chinese, right?
Yeah. So we will, see you all hopefully tomorrow morning. I think I'm digitally coloring tomorrow morning, the Canadian Shield. So we'll catch you all later. Bye for now. God bless. Have a great and wonderful day.